Oh, hello, and welcome to Aldente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight, for the start of this October month, we are going to start and finish another Curtisville story.
Just a short one.
Yeah, just a short one. You know, it's only going to take about 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the story only clocks in at about 14 chapters.
Mm-hmm.
It's practically a novella.
Yep.
The Visitor from Curtisville. So, like all the other Curtisville stories, it is by M.M. Pratt 99. You can check it out at creepypasta.wiki. For this episode, we are going to cover chapters 1 through 3, but then we are going to go through covering 3 chapters at a time over the next month. So, so I guess we're not going to do initial recommendations or really just an actual recommendation at the end of this of these episodes until the very end, and then we'll kind of see if the sum of its parts makes a compelling whole or not. So.
I already put a recommendation so far as so far recommendation.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, if you want to do that at the end, that's fine. I'm kind of reserving final thoughts for the next couple of weeks for just basically how I feel the story's doing.
Yeah.
But I'm not cementing down any definitive recommendation until I finish the entire story. So.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess without further ado, let's kick this off with the rundown. So, chapter 1 has a half-corpse-looking girl named Ellery approaching our favorite Gerdine, Kess, and a purple-haired goth, possible Gorgon, named Megra. This sounds an awful familiar, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
While they are sitting by a beachside fire at a midsummer party in Hogan's Bay. She inquires about cursing another girl named Lolly, who has been psychically vampirizing her and others, and is otherwise just obnoxiously otaku and kind of gross with her pug.
As all weeaboos are. As we know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, God, those anime fans, just the grossest people ever.
They're all just the worst
just
all the time.
Yeah, just obnoxious and just God. The 2 girls are tentatively interested in helping Ellery, but first need to know what the story is behind all this beef. Ellery's condition, for example, her corpse-like state and disheveledness, is apparently from an accident involving her friends and Lolly a week ago. Seems anyone who tries to mess with Lolly directly has bad things happen to them. Chapter 2 sees Ellery continue, but before diving into her backstory, she asks the 2 girls if they like Philadelphia or its local sports teams or musicians. It seems Ellery has a bit of a negative bias toward the city, as it wasn't very pleasant when she first moved to the Americas from Britain. And before she moved further west to Curtisville, which is just north of Hogan's Bay here, she had to deal with all that, the BS of that city. But Curtisville is much nicer, according to Ellery. Anyway, while this is going on, we move away from the 3 girls, turning now to the bus that brings people in from Curtisville. The bus drops off a bunch of humans and non-human folk looking to enjoy the festivities, including an obnoxiously weeaboo fanime girl and her gross pug. Dun dun dun.
Clearly the villain.
Yeah. As the bus driver is planning to head out from this drop-off, leftover passengers begin making a commotion about something in the back seat, where Lolly was sitting. It's here that the bus driver finds a putrid black liquid with writhing things swimming in it, dripping on the seat. It's enough to make the ogreish man retch and practically keel over. Now into chapter 3, with more people showing up and sitting by the fire, Ellery continues her tale a bit more in earnest and with more of an audience, apparently. She goes on about school life in Curtisville, how it started off fairly good, but then one dreary, stormy day where most of the kids were staying indoors for recess and the like, she and some others were in an English/journalism classroom watching Marble Hornets, playing blackjack and drawing comics, when a bunch of scene kids barged in and barricaded the door. They claimed to have been chased by a horrid, indescribable monster that leaked out from a haunted locker by the library, the infamous Locker 490. And that's where we leave off until chapter 4. So, with the rundown out of the way, I suppose we'll move on to Everyone Tolerates the Grammar Inquisitions at this point. I hope my fellow co-hosts also did this, but I categorized my Grammar Inquisition notes and my actual thought notes into individual chapters as they went on. So,
how dare you?
Did you not?
Of course I did.
Thank God.
You warned us that you were doing that.
I'm so glad you got the memo. I'm so glad you got the memo last night.
Yes. Granted, I did not respond to it, so I understand.
Yeah. All right. Well, I suppose I'll move on to. I'll start with chapter 1. Now, it just applies to these teeny beanie, brainless minimus posers who are totally obsessed with crappy pop music, tacky clothes, faux celebs, and the latest tween idol movies. So I know this is dialogue, so she might just have a lisp, but I feel like the S on its should be removed. So it's like now it just applies to these teeny beanie blah 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 blah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, no, she's not Squirrely Dan. She's not not adding extra S's at the end of words.
Not that you know of.
I mean, that's a perfectly legitimate regional dialect, I suppose, but or regional mannerism. But that's all I have for chapter 1. Mikey, the East Ends for Evil. What say you?
I have a conjunction junction
for the whole for all 3 stories, or each chapter individually.
For each chapter individually.
My God. All right.
We're being spoiled / punished by having 3 hit stories now, depending on your taste.
Thanks.
So, do you want me to do them individually or wait till the end after all the chapters?
I think you should wait till the end, till all the chapters are done.
Okay.
Just so it's a little bit more coherent.
Okay.
But the whole point of it is supposed to be incoherent.
I know, but sometimes I don't know. I just think it might. I just think it might work better if it's
okay.
Done. Yeah.
You're the boss.
Yeah. Do you have anything else?
Yeah. Nope.
Okay. Gamer, what do you have for chapter 1?
Absolutely nothing.
On to chapter 2. Meanwhile, the sun was setting over the ocean, casting long shadows across the beach, spilling over the hummocks of dune grass and scattered driftwood. So I feel like this sentence should start with, as this conversation was going on, rather than just simply meanwhile. Because when I was reading it, she's talking about her it's Ellery talking to the 2 girls about on the beach, and then it just kind of cuts away to a completely different scene. And when I read meanwhile the sun was setting over the ocean, blah, 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 it kind of didn't feel right as a proper transition. So I just felt like it needed a little bit extra.
I don't know. Whenever I hear meanwhile, it sounds like it's in a different location. Because to me, every time I hear that, I get the freaking Justice Friends cartoon being like, meanwhile, and it goes to a different scene.
Maybe as a compromise between our 2 ideas here. Maybe meanwhile, as the conversation was going on, the sun was setting over. Like maybe like kind of keep it, but like add a little bit more just to like properly transition that. Like have a proper segue rather than just like simply meanwhile.
I don't know. That's might be like just up to taste. Because personally, I believe that the word meanwhile means during what's happening right now, this is what's happening elsewhere.
I suppose, yeah.
I'm with you, cultist. I
What,
felt
really?
it was a little jarring, and it needs something to more better signify the change in scene. And I mean, you're already using a chapter system.
Yeah, I'll get to the chapter. Okay, I'm gonna get to the. I do have a note on like the transition between chapter 1 and chapter 2. In my actual thoughts, I didn't think it was really so much a grammar thing as like I guess it is kind of a grammar thing because it's kind of like formatting a little bit.
Yeah, that counts.
Maybe I'll just add it now. Okay, so like yeah, so for context, with this, so I'll just read this bit I have this chunk of quote I have. So starting from at the end of chapter 1. Of course, it is absolutely necessary, the Goth insisted in a businesslike manner. We can't have any adequate curse made without first hearing about the history of the victim/whack job. Kess looked from one to the other and felt a slight chill run down the back of her neck to her sandaled feet. This was just like a scene from The Sopranos, where the Hoods were discussing a hit list of a potential target. And then we cut to chapter 2, The Newcomer. Ellery let out a sigh as she gazed into the crackling fire. She looked so sad, so full of despair. And then she continues just kind of like talking, but like not getting to her story, which honestly, I kind of expected chapter 2 to launch into the backstory, not immediately continue the scene from the end of chapter 1.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of like one of my main complaints about this so far, to be honest.
Yeah, like it was sort of like, it's like, what are you doing? Wait, like, why isn't this in chapter 1? Like, why isn't this part at least in chapter 1? Because like chapter 2 should kind of chapter 2 should either begin with the backstory or begin with like the bus stop or like the bus driver situation, and like because like that's when like something new's happening in the scene, and like and it's like basically a fresh scene. But and I can see that like in terms of like formatting, like in terms of like I guess like narrative formatting, like you start chapter 1 like is like has all of its contents, including like like where she's about to start her story, and then we cut away to chapter 2 to either that story or while that was going on, something else was happening, so we have to get the context for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it'd be cleaner.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's that. I guess that's what I have for chapter 2 and kind of going into chapter 1, I suppose. But I will move on to the next thing I have here. Yes. Looking green around the gills, they soon fixed their gaze on the furthest rear seat, once occupied by that Melodorus brat and her pathetic-looking dog. I think I might have learned a new word today. Melodorus or Melodrus.
I mean, you
adjective.
think you learned a new word, did you or did you not?
So like it sounds an awful like melodorous sounds an awful lot like melodious.
I see.
So like that, but it is, and I actually had to like check, and it is a very different word. So melodorous is an adjective, basically just describing smelling very unpleasant. So basically describing how like Lolly didn't smell very good.
Yeah, because she smells like a weeaboo.
Yeah, she's like a sweaty, gross weeaboo. Yeah,
as all
otaku are. says a self-proclaimed otaku.
Yeah,
that's the joke. Oh, everybody, we're not actually going after otakus. We're
Curtisville stories go after otakus.
The story goes. Yeah, again, I do want to bring this up. I don't think I bring it up in my actual thoughts. I do love how this story continues to bash otakus and fanime girl or fanime people.
They're just the worst, apparently.
I know, apparently. Yeah. But that's all I've got for chapter 2, honestly. It's just like I learned a new word, and also the transition from chapter 1 to chapter 2 was kind of weird. But Mikey, do you have anything for chapter 2?
Well, I do.
Is it your conjunction?
Well, I have something in my actual thoughts that's technically grammar, so.
I mean, you might as well air it out now since like I did that. Like we're letting that happen.
All right. So the quote is probably a bit of roadkill that little turd head left on board as a R star 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 prank. What is the R word?
Do you actually not know?
Raunchy?
I assumed it's retard.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I figured.
To say it in the slightly nicer way of saying it.
In the more PG.
Yeah. In the original definition of the word instead of the insult.
Yeah, I could see that being that too.
But I mean,
it even has enough for like the full word. So yeah.
I'm well versed in horrible insults, so I know exactly which one it meant.
Yeah, we grew up in the mid to early 2000s, so yeah, like when this stuff was like acceptable, kinda, not really, but
yeah,
we're stupid and dumb kids back then,
as everyone was back then.
Yeah.
So the question is, why not just have the word, unless there's a filter thing that you're not allowed to use it on Creepypasta website or something.
That might be
because it's not cool these days.
Yeah, I could either seeing it being like something that like either the author doesn't want, like maybe the author doesn't want to like, I know they're using it in their story, but like they don't want to outright say it, or for like just like their own like kind of moral reasons, or like like there might be like an issue with like with in terms of Creepypasta.wiki's guidelines. So
or use a substitution like stupid.
Yeah,
stupid prank.
Yeah. Also, like the story itself is like the Curtisville stories and this author I like are no stranger to like creating silly alternatives to swear words.
They do have that replacement for fuck in here.
Yeah, what mother of funk, the
Isn't
flarb
or something.
There's flarb is in this one. There's also holy mother of funk.
Yep.
So like they're no stranger to like adding like replacement words for like bad curse words, but
yeah,
it is a little peculiar. Yeah,
but I mean, when there's words out there that aren't in bad taste that help you get the point across,
why have that word in your story but also have it censored? Yeah. I get you.
And that's my grammar inquisition for chapter 2.
Gamer.
That's also my grammar inquisition for chapter 2.
All right, fair enough. On to chapter 3.
I really didn't find much grammar-wise.
Yeah, honestly, like mine's fairly small comparatively too. So, so on to chapter 3. It was an absolute hellhole, which probably wasn't at all surprising, seeing this was in Philly. Tons of posers, pervs, sluts, and wannabe emos. So I feel like there should be a colon after Philly, so that it's like because it's starting up a list, like so, and also kind of like stops you from like continuing like Philly tons of posers. There was a Philly tons of posers.
Is that an adjective now?
Yeah. So like, which probably wasn't at all surprising, seeing that this was Philly. Maybe either like a period or a colon there, and then so then we can stop for a moment and know that we're about to get a list. So it's like tons of posers, pervs, sluts, and wannabe emos. So, but that's what I've got for chapter 3 for Grammar Inquisition. So, Mikey, these stands for evil.
Yeah, still conjunction junction. So
So you can do it now, since
Oh, okay.
It's your turn now.
yeah. So chapters 1 through 3.
All right. Chapter 1. The Visitor from Curtisville. It wasn't until she cleared her throat that they turned to look at her. But now I just ignore. It's not that. It's not? So, teeny bopper's a derogatory term then? It's got this persistent image problem over the years because the people who settled it first during the Depression were of the rural working class, hence the name Oklahoma. It was just dandruff. But then Ellery started to talk again in that dull, flat voice, and Kess, despite her squeamishness, began to listen. It takes a lot of psionic energy to make a powerful spell, and unlike us foreign-born Mundies, you nigh have plenty of that energy. But does she listen? It had been taken in what looked like a crowded shopping mall. So she's a thief, and a glomper as well as a jackass. Because whenever someone tries to take out their hostility on Lolly McLaren, they soon get really weak and drowsy. It couldn't be anything really serious, she thought. The girl's still walking around okay. It was then she caught a glimpse of the gauze sticking out from beneath Ellery's jacket sleeve. Chapter 2. The Newcomer. And no, I consider myself an Oakland Raider fan just like my dad. It was followed shortly by muffled cries and shouts of sheer disgust.
Sorry.
Fuck the Oakland Raiders.
Jesus, yeah. Beach is full of non-Oakland fans.
Apparently.
It's more like black oil. Or that mangy little mutt. It was an entirely strange smell now, different from the one permeating that loud-mouthed delinquent that just got off, a sweetish aroma like potpourri spice mingled with decaying meat. Chapter 3. Ellery's Story. It was an exceptionally large dog, yellowish-brown in color. It was an absolute hellhole, which probably wasn't at all surprising seeing that this was in Philly, tons of posers, pervs, sluts, and wannabe emos. So, on my first day to my new school, I was totally nervous, half expecting to be given wedgies, noogies, swirlies, and have my lunch money stolen. But the day ended up great. It was a few months into the school year that my ride into Crazy Town first started. It was my first stormy day I had experienced in my new town. It was lunchtime, and while some students decided to brave the elements to trek or catch rides to the nearby restaurants and grocery stores, others huddled like wet rats in any available dry and warm campus space they could find. But then, over the intercom, the morning announcement came that I won. And suddenly, people were coming over, telling me how really cool my comic was, and wanting my autograph. So I decided to just act like my regular self, and not as an attention-seeking Paris Hilton type. It's so rancid. It's so horrible. It's all your fault, Bemis. But you don't see me crying. It might even save your life. But whatever it wasn't human. And it was crawling out of a locker. Finn.
Wow. First off, I would like to point out that the Oakland thing like really stole the show for me.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
I was having a hard time like trying to like follow along and like try and like all right and like how can I make something funny? No, Oakland Raiders they just took it.
Yeah, the hate on the Oakland Raiders took it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Although I also did like the part is like it's like as they're scrambling for like warmth and dry like spaces because of the storm and like how this was like a bad day, and then the intercom thing and said that I won. That was also kind of funny. Also, something to point out again, like most of a lot of that was dialogue, so it doesn't really count, but it's fine.
Yeah, it absolutely doesn't count.
It's for the bit.
For the bit, which is Mikey grabbing all the sentences throughout a story that start with words that they probably shouldn't, like its, ends, or buts, because there's always better words to use unless it's dialogue.
Exactly. But yeah, Gamer, do you have anything for chapter 3?
Yes, actually. I can actually contribute a little bit.
You can contribute!
Yay! Alright, first one. Everyone watched Google-eyed as the motley crew with multicolored hair, piercings, blah, 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 blah. So this was the second instance of saying Google-eyed. Or goggle-eyed. It's 2 so it's probably Google, right?
Yeah, well, because the first time it was used was goggled, and then this one was Googled. So
were they actually different?
Yeah, they are separate. They are different.
The first one is goggle.
Which I have like I think I've heard that before, so I let it pass. But it was kind of weird.
No, I can't.
Also, it's Curtisville story. So like again, we've had all different kinds of like slang thrown in before, so I just kind of like let it pass because it's Curtisville.
Okay. Regardless, they can be used interchangeably as far as Google AI tells me. Although Google might be
a little
biased towards this Google-eyed situation.
Well, I typo-nized it as googly-eyed.
Nice.
Yes.
That's the better way to see it, honestly.
Nice. They turn around,
yes.
they're just wearing googly eyes, just like bouncing around.
Mm-hmm. But the reason I bring this up is because of the repeat, which I kind of like. I get that they're describing the same sort of expression, but there's lots of words. Like it could be, you say wide-eyed or any number of other ones that also give the same sort of visual of it. Because like I don't normally hear goggle-eyed or googly-eyed or Google-eyed or whatever. So seeing them like back to back, it was kind of jarring. It wasn't immediately back to back. I think they're in different
the first one's
chapters.
Yeah.
But regardless, like wide-eyed or some other wording, I feel would be better, just for a little bit of variety. And then my last one is when all the kids come in and they're complaining about things. And one says, "Did you notice I broke 2 nails?" wailed another girl in brightly colored animal prints. She glowered at a boy in a Pokemon shirt. "It's all your fault, Bemis. You owe me." And then, "My fault!" exclaimed the one named Bemis. "You're the one who took 30 minutes to get through the frickin' door." So the way that Bemis said "my fault," he basically just like agreed it was his fault because there's no question mark. He's
Yeah,
just like, my fault. I did it.
It should have like question mark and exclamation mark for
Yeah.
like for emphasized questioning. Like my
Mhm.
fault. But
Unless
no,
he's
yeah,
like way into it, like he's happy that he is a shit disturber.
yeah. But then at that point, it should be like my fault. But
I
you're
did.
the one. But you're also the one who like it should have added that at the second proclamation.
Absolutely. But yeah, I just think that there needs to be a question mark there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's all I got.
All right. Well, then I suppose we'll move on to final thoughts. Or nope.
Really? Okay. That was quick.
Yeah, no. But now I suppose we'll move on to actual thoughts. So I'll start with obviously chapter 1, The Visitor from Curtisville. And this is in regards to the fact that the chapter name is also the name of the story itself.
Mhm.
Also, it seems that chapter 1. So I kind of hinted at it in the rundown at the very beginning, because like we recognized this scenario of like a girl coming to Kess and a purple haired goth at a beach before. That's because I think most of the contents of chapter 1 is from the story Shadow, Fog, and Firelight, which
Yeah.
we did cover a few years back. I think it was one of the earliest of the Curtisville stories we covered. Minus, and the contents of this story is minus the wraparound dream sequence, or like dreaming sequence of that story, where like somebody was dreaming, like, or kind of almost having like a prophetic vision of these events. And we actually never got really any closure or any conclusion or resolution as to like how this conversation about like this kind of like conversation or negotiation for like a curse on Lolly ever really happened. Although that story also kind of ended with like somebody else getting like it becoming having its own thing happening like just like simultaneously, and we kind of thought that was like what the curse was or what the situation was. But in this story, it seems like that curse is for somebody completely different from some of the other Curtisville stories that we covered. So yeah, that's basically the thing is like chapter 1, its contents are pulled from Shadow, Fog, and Firelight. And now it seems like we are going to hopefully in this extended, like over the course of these chapters, we're now going to get some resolution as to like how that conversation, how that bargain played out. At least I'm hoping so, because I do like when we get some extra bit about like something we've read before from like a previous thing. So, but I'll move on to the next thing I have here.
I wonder if the title for the first chapter should have just been Shadow, Fog, and Firelight to make it like clearer.
Yeah, that would have been. Yeah, I think that would have worked as well.
Because is it actually like word for word? Because it felt like it.
I don't know if it's word for word. I didn't go back, unfortunately, and check.
But it's the same sort
like,
of vibes.
It's the same. Well, I think I know like her approaching them and stuff, and like talking to them, and like them getting to, like Kess and Megra being like described the way, like that's all basically word for word. And I think most of it is basically like this initial conversation that they have in chapter 1 is basically word for word as far as I could tell. But yeah, it's just this story is now going to explain like the consequences of this bargain, or this like attempted bargain to curse Lolly. So
was Lolly the same name as the gross weeaboo from the previous one?
I think so.
Because I thought the name was not familiar.
Let me
I forget a lot of things, so I might just be wrong.
It was also like literally like 3 years ago, probably, or longer.
I don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday.
Yeah. So the story, like we get like a little bit about like some other character, and then like the fog rolls in and such. In Hogan's Gap, which isn't Hogan's Bay, which is interesting. So they're Hogan's Gap or Hogan's Bay are either the same place, but with like over the course of the stories they've been changed, or it's maybe like a mistake, or perhaps it's even just like there's two towns called Hogan something.
Which wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. It is Hogan's Bay in this story, right? I'm not just gaslighting myself.
I believe so. Yes, I believe you are gaslighting yourself.
Damn it.
No, Hogan's Bay.
Okay.
It's Hogan's Bay, brother.
Yeah, not in Hogan's Bay. Yeah. But yeah, so in Shadowfog and Firelight, like, yeah, it starts basically the same way. Like, she was so quiet when she sat down at the sun-bleached driftwood bench that they didn't even notice her, but it wasn't until she cleared her throat and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, like midsummer festivities. What was I looking up for this one? Oh yeah, we were looking for the name of the person that was a vampire. That was being a psychic vampire.
Yes.
What was his name? You'll have to give me a second.
You could search for vampire; it might show up.
I probably should just like
instead of manually doing it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. I just looked up Lolly. It's like Ellery barked a bitter laugh. Yeah, dignity, something sorely lacking in Lolly McLaren's philosophy.
Oh, okay, so it's the same.
Yeah, and then like even hostility on that stuff. See if I can find fanime. Yep, fanime conventions. Yeah, so it is basically the same story, or like this section's the same basically the same kind of contents as that previous story.
So basically, overall, this entirety of this whole page of all these chapters is essentially a remaster of the original.
Yeah, like we got, it was almost like we got a taste, or like a tease about these events in the previous story, which I'm now looking up. This Shadowfog and Firelight came out in August of 2014, and this story came out in, or at least was posted, April 2013.
I'm sorry?
So
came up before?
Interesting. So this story is actually the full story, and then Shadowfog and Firelight kind of gives us a tease for this story. That's interesting. So it's not so much a like this first chapter was like an original, like a part of a story that then she decided to like expand on. The Visitor of Curtisville was like a full story that she wrote, and then she took the first chapter and kind of like added it to to another story to kind of like almost like tease these events.
I see.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured it'd be the other way around. Only because
honestly,
read it in that order. So,
yeah. Well, because Shadowfog and Firelight was part of a series of stories that we were following along with. Like it had like there was like sequels and prequels and stuff like that to it.
Yeah.
That's why we're covering it in that order. So.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're covering The Visitor from Curtisville, which is a full story that came out before that story was posted. So
yes.
All right. Before I get too cross-eyed in how and get too caught in the weeds, I'm going to continue on.
Don't you only have one eye, cultist?
I mean, shut up.
How do you cross your one eye? Is it like
Yes.
cartoon style where it literally is an X?
Yes, sure.
I see. Okay, cool. Or is it just one googly eye and it goes all the place?
It's definitely not that like one of my eyes is just glowing and the other one's just steeped in darkness.
No, of course not. That'd be silly.
Exactly. But I'll move on to the actual thing I was going to get to here before we dove into the intricacies of like of the stories like cross germinating.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the quote. She means Curtisville, Megara explained. 4 miles north of here. It's got this persistent image problem it's got this. That's a grammar question. It's gotten this persistent image problem over the years. Grammar acquisition.
Is it? What's wrong with it?
It's gotten, or like it's had, maybe even like it's had this persistent image problem over the years. It's got this persistent image problem over the years. Kind of sounds weird to me.
Yeah.
Like just that it's got this, but anyway, that's not the actual thing.
It seems fine to me, but maybe I'm just weird.
Because the people who settled it, because the people who settled it first during the Depression were of the rural working class, hence the name Oklahoma. Oh, Kess nodded understandingly. One of them, no magic, no one of. Oh, okay, so it's in like one of them, no magic, no mystery, mundane sort of places. Yeah, it's pretty mundane as it can get. A flicker of annoyance crossed Ellery's sharp, pale face. I'm sorry. Wait, what? Mundane? Curtisville? I'm sorry. Is this the same story? Like the same town that has like Wolf Cop and like bunkers under like people's house, like under people's like properties with like weird profane like horrors and like magical plant creature like security, like kind of like perimeter security
Yeah, that's mundane
from
to
like
them.
yeah, yeah, again, like it isn't playing on like that kind of like mundane fantastical or that fantastically mundane like kind of scenario or but it just seems weird that like because we're clear in this story we clearly like are like addressing there are human and non-humans and like there are like the fair folk which are basically like creatures of fairy and fairy or like the fae and like they are clearly addressing them as like they are something strange and supernatural. But then they're talking about Curtisville like it's the most like mundane normal place that you've ever been to. There's nothing ever really weird happens there. Mind you, these are like kids or like teens that are talking about this. So like they live in a town like they may not be aware has like all this weird shit about it.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that it also houses a psychic vampire and there's a strange haunted locker with like creatures in it.
Yeah, but for all they knew, it was just a legend. Like it's not actually haunted until it's actually haunted. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I get the story just could like the characters just could be downplaying the mysticism of Curtisville.
Yeah. Also, like mundane to us and mundane to someone who lives in Curtisville are very different.
That's true. Yeah.
Because like you see Mr. Wolf Cop walking down the street, you're like, "Good morning, officer." You know that's normal. But if Wolf Cop was like doing a ritual to like summon a demon, that's not normal. That is not mundane anymore.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm assuming it's like.
That's possible.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I've got for chapter 1. So, Mikey, do you have anything for chapter 1?
Nope.
Gamer, do you have anything for chapter 1 for actual thoughts?
Kind of. The first one we basically talked about where like it's describing the characters. I'm like, oh wait, no, actually no, this is different. That was a different note that I already crossed off because we talked about it. So it's describing Ellery at the start, and it describes her as like her mousy hair hung limply on her thin face, and her muddy brown eyes peered out hollowly through the wireframe spectacles. She wore a baggy gray hoodie jacket over ragged, faded down jeans. That's not a look that I associate with any other characters from Creepypasta. Nope. I can't think of any that wear hoodies as a main thing. Specifically gray ones with jeans.
Basically, I mean, just add like some glasses to the man, and he basically just looks like he just like go to sleep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or just take the glasses off, and she could basically be like just cosplaying as Mr. Go to Sleep.
Yep. The worst character.
Yeah, just the kittens, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. I love that like that version or like that like nickname that for him online.
It's the only good thing he has going for him, honestly. It's like the only clever thing. Regardless, that's not the story.
Yeah.
And then my next one, in regards to asking what a teeny bopper was, who says it? Meg responds by saying, "Oh, just people who are basically freaking idiots." And like, okay, while that may be true, it doesn't explain it at all. And yes, it does explain it more thoroughly later. But like, even in the moment, the previous lines of like description did explain it pretty well before before Kess like asked what a teeny bopper was, because it basically says cold-hearted cliche bitch but an extremely immature, obnoxious, brain cell deprived teeny bopper, blah 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 blah, who thinks the world revolves around her and her money, that kind of thing. So like, it's already kind of explained, and then she's like, "What's a teeny bopper?"
Yeah,
It's kind of weird,
it's
but
fine,
I'm glad it is clarified, like before and after and all that.
Fair.
But that's all I got for chapter 1.
Okay. Then I suppose we move on to chapter 2, The Newcomer. Since I did my chapter 1, chapter 2 thing and Grammar Inquisition, I can do just the next thing. So my first thing for actual thoughts for chapter 2 is this. Kess's delicate brows wrinkled. I've only been here like 3 days, and I still don't know much about. I don't know much of anything about human entertainment. And so I read this part, and I was like, okay, so I wonder if this is pre last day of October, because in that story and in like the stories around like the last day of October, like because there was like a bunch of them that were kind of around that story. Kess was aware of some human media, like I think there's like some vampires and werewolves in that story, like in that alternate version of like somewhere in England or somewhere in like Wallachia, I think is what they called them, called the place. Where they were doing like a stage play in like the backyard or in the back garden of and they were like reenacting The Thing by John Carpenter, which is clearly a human entertainment thing. So I just wonder if like maybe that was like this is a if this takes place like when Kess was younger, and that one's like when and that one's when she's like a little bit older and a little bit more savvy about things.
Mm-hmm.
But I will move on to the next thing I have here. The only one not fearful and wide-eyed. The only one not fearful and wild-eyed was an energetic, heavily perfumed girl of about 15, wearing the frilly blue and white dress of a gothic dark Alice, and a matching paw star hat, clutching a Hello Kitty backpack and a miserable pug. She bounded off. Ah, snap. Lolly's tracked down Ellery, hasn't she? Either that, or she's just happened to be going to the same like party or shindig, like festivities, and now she's probably going to bump into Ellery and her new friends, in quotes, as they are discussing the curse business, and things are going to heat up. Like something bad's going to happen. That's my prediction anyway, and I do like that, like how this is like progressing, because like again, we read the first part, the first chapter, we get like this the kind of meeting of Ellery and the other two girls talking about Lolly behind her back and like wanting to curse her and stuff like that, and then now Lolly's arrived on scene either purposefully or just by happenstance, and so like now we're gonna get that like a bit of tension or like some kind of drama and probably some supernatural consequences.
Mm-hmm.
So, but move on to the next thing I have here. The burly ogre-like driver, and then in brackets, a former sideshow performer and rock musician of People with the Chairs Up Their Noses and If Pigs Could Talk, Would You Still Eat Them? End bracket. Watched her stride purposefully toward the distant lights of town. God, this bus driver sounds like he has his own story. Like I want to know more about this man. I want to know more about this guy's like background. Like that was
we
a
could
hell
just
of
said that he was like a previous like rock musician and just call it there. But no, you gotta like name drop everything, make it feel real, which is I appreciate, you know.
Yeah, that's hell of a resume for just being a side note or a side character.
Absolutely.
And then we continue on in this part of the story. The driver was about to slide the doors shut when a scream shrilled from behind. It was followed shortly by muffled cries and shouts of sheer disgust. Oh God! Holy crap! Oh gods! What the frickin' hell is that? Holy mother of funk! Is that blood? No, man. It's more like black oil. You know, that creepy stuff from the X-Files. Oh my God! There's things moving in it. Are are those maggots? No, they're like tiny centipedes. And it keeps going on and on and on and on. And finally the driver is like, what the bloody hell is going on back there? cutting the engine. And I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's a lot. But like cutting the engine, the driver glanced up in the rear view mirror and saw a small crowd had gathered around the left rear corner seat. And so as I like to my reply to this was like, honestly, I think the driver should have interrupted this a lot sooner. Not saying like, oh, like we didn't need all of those like exclamations of disgust and whatnot, but like we probably didn't need all those exclamations of disgust. It was
kind of just like describing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, and it was almost like it kind of got comedic as it went on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's explained that the smell is so bad that you want to hurl.
Yeah.
So how are these people talking?
Yeah, I know, right?
It's the ones that aren't within hurl proximity, I guess.
Yeah.
But they're in visual proximity, which is pretty much hurl proximity because they're in a bus.
It depends on your stomach, on the fortitude you have. Like, they're all rolling fortitude checks, or
absolutely.
like constitution checks for 5th edition D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, constitution saves, not checks. But anyway,
I mean, same shit.
Yeah, basically. And then my last thing for chapter 2 is actually when the driver gets back there and sees the horror of what the thing is, what the viscous material. Eyes watering as he gulped down fresh air, he slowly took in the nightmarish scene. Viscous puddles of a sticky black substance coated the rear corner seat nearest the window. Swarming through this liquid were a mass of squirming creatures and pulsating clusters of veins and organs, many of which had clusters of misplaced fingers, eyes, and teeth. Oh, so the weeaboo just left behind a little Shoggoth. Cool. Honestly, this does make Lolly seem a little more creepy and more of a threat. Like behind that flamboyant, cheery Fanime mask that she's wearing is something far darker and grotesque.
Mm-hmm.
You know, more grotesque than a Fanime otaku character, weeaboo.
Which has to be extremely grotesque to top that.
Clearly.
Uh-huh.
Again, these are jokes, folks.
Yes, we should preface that.
I am, in fact, a fan of anime and have gone to many conventions. I am a weeaboo myself.
Nerd.
It's that Spider-Man 1 like meme where like Norman Osborn. I'm something of a weeaboo myself.
I have not seen that meme.
That's funny. In that one, it's like. Do you like that? You like that, Mikey? It's like, oh, it's funny. Yeah, sure. You.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll fucking find it.
You don't have to find it now. We're in the middle of a recording.
It's fine.
It's not important.
Found it.
It's only important if you say it's vital.
It's vital.
Okay, now it's important.
Yeah. Here, I'll post. I said I'll post it. God damn it. It's where Norman Osborn is like, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Oh, he doesn't actually say weeaboo.
No, but like a lot of people like will like replace the scientist with something else.
Now it makes a lot more sense, you see.
Yeah.
I thought he actually said that in the movie. I'm like, I don't remember that. I feel like I would.
No, it's a meme. That's why I said it was a meme.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
But actual quotes can be memed.
Yes, but then like they can be customized. Hence why how they become memes.
Yes.
But anyway, that is actually all I have for chapter 2. It's just like, oh, she's exuding Shoggoths or like formless spawn, apparently. That's creepy.
I wonder why / how.
Well, I think we're gonna find out. Oh, I wonder if like maybe maybe Lolly like got possessed by the thing from chapter 3 that they were talking about, like that horrible grotesque thing that like oozed out of the locker. But I guess we'll have to find out. And see
Maybe.
if maybe we'll have to find out and see if maybe something like that happened. Like maybe that's why she like suddenly got like all gross and stuff.
Yeah.
But anywho, Mikey, do you have anything for chapter 2?
Nope.
Gamer, do you have anything for chapter 2?
Kind of more along the lines of my note is saying that I don't have much to say in regards to notes for this chapter. Because I specifically wrote down not a lot really happens in this chapter. Like Philly catches a shitload of flack.
Yeah.
And then like the bus incident with the gore, and then that's about it. So
That's
like
true. Yeah.
Yeah. Mainly the flack of Philly is what stuck most with me for that chapter.
Yeah, it was kind of odd. Like I get like obviously like not every like I'm not claiming the author like maybe has like beef with Philly or something like that, but like it is very odd. Like it's like how Ellery like took a deep breath. Are either one of you big fans of Bruce Springsteen, especially his Oscar-winning 1993 song "Streets of Philadelphia," or of the various Philadelphia sports teams? Baffled, Cass and Megra glanced to each other. Yeah, same girls.
Yeah, at least they acknowledge that. It's like, okay, weird, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I also do like Meg's retort. I'd rather watch the entire High School Musical film series while trapped on an elevator with diuretic warthogs than attend a packed Springsteen concert. No offense intended to diuretic warthogs.
That was pretty good.
It's just such a just such a like a great like flamboyant line.
I'm not gonna lie, the first time I read that, I thought it was like diuretic warthogs and then go see a Springsteen concert compared to seeing a Springsteen concert. I thought that was part of the punishment.
Oh, okay. But yeah. All right, I suppose we'll move on to chapter 3 with Ellery's story. And actually this one also I think ties into our moments ago like mention of the Philadelphia guff.
Mm-hmm.
I won't go into any more details about this hellish place because that's all in the now distant past. That's all in the now distant past. And I don't want to make myself further depressed reminiscing about it. Many of the crowd nodded in sympathy, having suffered similar experiences of woe in that dark city of major angst and attitude, which must be avoided at all cost. And I was like, are we still talking about Philadelphia or Carcosa? Like,
I mean, they're one and the same.
Yeah, apparently. Just gonna write down some notes for a Call of Cthulhu game.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's a bit weird that Ellery now just has an audience for her tale outside of Megra and Kess, right? Like, it's weird, right? Like,
kind of.
You'd think she wouldn't want she'd want this to be kept like, the whole like curse affair to be like on the down low, not like shared with like a bunch of strangers.
I mean, she did like want to leave the conversation to like go find a powerful wizard or whatever, and then they're like, no, you need to sit here and talk to us so we can do it.
Well, yeah, because I think like the implication is that she approached these two because like Kess and Megra seem to have some kind of juice behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Like Megra specifically, I think like I'm not sure if she's a Gorgon or if she just like has some like innate power because like her hair isn't like snakes. It's just kind of writhes around like snakes when she like maybe exudes power. But
yeah, when she goes Super Saiyan.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, I just thought it was like it's just kind of odd, and it kind of reminded me again going back talking again about Last Day of October and those stories. It kind of brought to mind how like in those stories we also have like a story being told sort of like to a like communal group of strangers, i.e. in that story it was like a bunch of like people that had like come in from like a heavy rain into the bookshop, and then they started talking to each other inside the bookshop when things were happening. And in this one again, like a bunch of strangers have showed up for the festivities and are now just like sitting around this campfire listening to Ellery's tale.
Yeah.
And like kind of commentating or at least like acknowledging it with nods and such. So, but I'll continue on to the next thing I have here. The school looked dismal and dreary, and the hallways that I passed through felt chilly as a tomb. The drafts that formed in those narrow hallways were horrible. They formed crisscrossing currents and tornado-like whirlwinds that lifted the hair of the back on the back of my head, the hair on the back of my neck, and turned my exposed face and hands to ice. Why are all the hallways in this school open to the elements? Or like that was my first kind of reactionary comment, because like what the hell, like why are like all the windows open? But then I was like, oh, maybe this is like one of those like schools that has like like kind of like just like roof covered paths between like pavilions.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had that. I've never like had that school experience. Like all the schools I've ever gone to have always been like enclosed, or like you have to just run out into the open to like one of the portable like school rooms and stuff. But I have seen in like TV and films and stuff like that. Like there's those, especially actually I think out in the West Coast. There's usually like those ones that have like those like covered like pathways that like kids usually like hang under during like the recess and such.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's what it's describing here, is that the hallways are actually just those like covered pathways. Because otherwise, like why is the schools like just letting like tornado like winds and rain into their indoor like hallways?
Does seem strange.
Yeah. But then the next thing I have here. Despite the cold rain pelting the windows and the wind howling banshee outside, inside was really upbeat. There was a lot of laughter and conversation going on. In one corner of the room, a game of blackjack was in progress with coins and various knickknacks in place of chips. In another, a large group was gathered around an armoire, watching the Marble Hornets DVD on the television. In case you don't know what Marble Hornets is, it's an indie YouTube series produced by a couple of film students about a mysterious, possibly murderous entity known as the Slender Man. Damn! Okay, connective tissues time. I was not aware of, I had not read the story, like certainly like this story, and this isn't like part of any other story that we've read in the Curtisville series, like this particular element. So I was thrown off when I heard it, because I have those DVDs. I'm looking at them right now on my shelf.
Also, we very recently watched Marble Hornets because they just started doing a new thing.
Yeah, side note, as we're reading this, Marble Hornets is back. 11 years after the original series ended, we now have a Marble Hornets Rosswood. And so far they've released 3 entries for the series. So like, yeah, September 2025, Creepypasta folks are eating well.
Yes.
And so am I. Yeah, no, I just like, it was like, I know that the Curtisville stories generally have a lot of like pop culture references mentioned them. This story being no exception. Like Sopranos are dropped, various characters, like Hello Kitty, like various like references of media are dropped. But it was just
Oakland
like
Raiders.
Yeah, Oakland Raiders, or like how a character is like talking is very similar to like this thing, well, like this thing in media, or this thing in a movie. Like that kind of stuff happens all the time in these Curtisville stories, and but like dang, the connective tissues today were strong, because I was like, yeah, because I know exactly what Marble Hornet DVD they're talking about. Like I know, and now we're getting more Marble Hornet stuff in the year of our Lord Cthulhu 2025.
Is it really? Is that official?
What?
That this is the Lord of the year of Cthulhu?
No,
or is
no,
every year.
It's just a play on the year of our Lord, 2025. Like it's just a cultist play on anyway.
I thought it went deeper than that. That's all. It's fine.
No. Sometimes a Cthulhu is just a Cthulhu.
I mean, you're right.
I'll move on.
Okay, please.
So this is the part where she's talking about like how she got her, or how Ellery got her position as the new cartoonist for the school's newspaper. Recently, I had just got hired for my position as the cartoonist after the long-running artist Hugh Lambert finally graduated. And I was like, huh, I wonder if that kid's related to Ellie Lambert from like the other stories that we've covered. You know, like the story Ellie Lambert and Short Hoggers. I don't think we've ever seen Hugh Lambert before, but we know of Ellie Lambert from the Curtisville story from Curtisville. So
a last name was possibly chosen on purpose.
Possibly, yes. And then we have this that I again. So guys, Curtisville stories like to use like to just seem to like make up random like swears or slang. Again, see flarb and such. But this one like caught me. I don't know why it caught me so bad. Oh my god, it's so horrible. I can't even describe it. I'm just like, do people say this as a term, like as a slang, like horrible? Is that a
people
thing?
say everything.
Yeah. It's also like, kids, so
yeah. It's also kids. It's also like you're writing about like kids, so like you don't want them to say like horrible, like actual like. Although, what's so bad about horrible or awful?
But it's so bad, it's both.
Yeah, it's so bad, it's horrible. Honestly, that sounds like something we would do in a story, or like we'd do in like dialogue for like one of our games.
Yeah. We are that dumb.
We are dumb as high schoolers. And on to my last quote and comments. What? I asked, not sure what to make of this girl's ravings. Either she was totally freaked out on something, or she really did see a monster. I don't know for sure, said blue hair impatiently. But it was this slimy, gross kind of stuff, like snot and spaghetti all mixed together. Brenda gave, sorry, I thought that was like somebody like, Brenda, come on. Brenda gave one of her derisive, horse-like snorts. You dumbasses probably just saw someone's spilled Alfredo dish. So they're being stalked by a creepypasta. There, I said it.
Yep, it had to be said.
Also, and only diehard RPPR fans will get this one, but it's the perfect time for me to say this. There are monsters in the school, Tom. Sorry, that one's more for me and like I think one other person listening to us. So
okay, that's not me, so I don't
know. No. Hi, Brownie.
Nice. You got to jump scare him every once in a while. Keep him on his toes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, like when there's like, oh, it's like some horrible like snot and spaghetti thing. It's like
no, it's a horrible,
literally, horrible, awful creature. Yeah. So it's a creepypasta. It's literally a creepypasta.
Absolutely. I hope it actually goes with that. Although it will be kind of silly and not scary if it does.
Yeah, I mean, but that's fine. Like the Curtisville stories are generally like they have like kind of this blend of like whimsical silliness with like horror. So
yeah, I'm
down with that.
Mm-hmm.
But
if
yeah,
it's going to work anywhere. It would work where Wolf Cop is a thing.
Exactly. Wolf Cop. But that's all I've got for chapter 3. I think that's a good moment, a good comment to end off on for chapter 3, personally.
Yeah.
So Mikey, these stands for evil.
All right. So chapter 3 is where I have my big issue with the story so far.
How fucking dare you? Continue.
So the first thing, and this is something that Review Cultists didn't catch, is that we're talking about middle school, not high school.
Oh, you're right. Damn it. Yeah.
So, like,
so we're sorry that I alter my statement earlier. We are as dumb as middle schoolers.
I'm actually more insulted now.
Hey man, you're lumped in with us, so
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So we get the description that the character didn't get the chance to finish 6th grade, so they're in 6th grade when the story happens.
Yeah, they had to
But-
repeat sixth grade. Yeah.
But the problem I have, and this is why cultists thought high schooler, is because a lot of the descriptions of things are things that would happen in high school, not middle school.
Like,
So,
Such as
the example is calling the people in Philly posers, pervs, sluts, and wannabe emos.
well, that to be fair, that's being brought up in the present of the story.
Yeah.
So like when she's like
And-
15 or something like that. So
yeah.
And then I have another quote here. It was lunchtime, and while some students decided to brave the elements to trek or catch rides to the nearby restaurants and grocery stores, others huddled like wet rats in any available dry and warm campus space they could find. So, a middle school catching a ride to a nearby restaurant sounds like stranger danger.
or like one of their older brothers or siblings from like the high school over has it. But I do get what you're saying, because like that's very much, and maybe this is something like this is a difference between like Canadian education system and American education, or Canadian school environment versus American school environment. Like, but yeah, I don't think here like kids were allowed to leave like without, unless like leave in a car without the school being notified. In middle school, that is definitely more of a high school thing than a middle school thing, I think. At least
up here, I referred to middle school as public school, and then high school as high school or secondary school. But in public school, it was basically prison. Like, you go there, you can't leave. Like, you were stuck there until the prison bus takes you back.
Well, I mean, actually, to be fair, like, so from my experience, because I am now just trying to like recall, this isn't from high school, because I didn't really have high school until like I came up, until I moved up here to like moved up north. But when I was living down in Toronto, like I remember going to a middle school down there, and like during recess and stuff like that, we'd go out to like the park that like bordered our middle school and like the public school. And then you could also like technically just walk home and go for lunch and stuff like that, like willy-nilly. So maybe there is a little bit more freedom in middle school than we're remembering, but
Maybe.
it is. I know there definitely wasn't like middle school. I don't think middle schoolers were getting in cars, but like had or were like there weren't like middle schoolers that had cars to go to like local places. So they were either like getting chaperoned by like a parent or like an older brother or sibling, or like again, like they could be catching a bus, I guess, like a city bus, but that just seems kind of sketchy for the school. But
yeah, especially middle school, they're catching a city bus.
Yeah. But I mean, if it's also a small enough town, like maybe, but it is definitely sort of like kind of a gray area, or like sort of a like, I don't know about that. I'm not entirely sure on that one kind of matter.
Yeah. And continuing on with my thoughts here, the Marble Hornets DVD probably would have been vetoed by a teacher in middle school because horror movies don't fly well in middle school.
I'm just gonna check to see if this has a rating. I literally pulled the DVDs out of off my shelf.
Nice.
Sadly, they look like they don't have any rating whatsoever. So
yeah, so a high school teacher is going to say no because there's no rating, or middle school would. High school would get a pass because they show Silence of the Lambs in high school.
It's also kind of
So-
odd. There is no teacher in this classroom though, too. So, like maybe like that's how they're getting away with it is that they've like, but that could maybe be clarified. Like they've like that her friend Veronica sort of like smuggled it in.
Yeah. Or the teacher's like actually there, but like the teacher
But
isn't
like
integral to the plot, so they're not mentioned, unlike the bus driver.
but that is kind of weird. Like, why wouldn't if the teacher's in that room when the scenesters all like kind of come running in and like barricading the door with desks? Why the hell is if the teacher's in that room? Why are they not like telling them to stop or like questioning? Like, why isn't they like stepping in? Like, it makes me think that like all these kids are just in this classroom unsupervised for lunch.
Yeah.
Which only
Which is more
makes
of a high
sense
school
in a high school scenario. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. Like, yeah, that is definitely more of a high school thing. I think than middle school. At least from our Canadian perspective.
Yes.
Also, it's been a few decades since we were in middle school. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not exactly knowledge that's like hot off the press for us.
Speaking about press, my next note here is about the school newspaper in middle school.
How did I give you a segue? Was that actually your next note?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
As a school newspaper in middle school doesn't make that much sense to me unless they have like a printing press or like they're trying to get people to learn about newspapers, but that's again more of a high school thing.
It could be. No, it does look like that is actually a common thing. I was like looking
common
it up.
for us, I guess.
Yeah, and well, again, like I devil's advocate here. Some of the middle schools I went to, like they didn't have that kind of thing, but I do know that like there were like the neighboring middle school, like or one of the other middle schools in the neighborhood did have like a more like kind of thorough, like not entertainment thing, but like a more like a creative bend to them. So,
well, to play devil's advocate again against your devil's advocate,
to counter your devil's advocate,
To double
Curtisville.
Yeah.
What was that? Sorry, I didn't.
Curtisville.
Oh, so yeah, Curtisville. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a big city that would have multiple schools.
Oh, I thought you were going along the lines of this is in a world where Wolf Cop exists. So it's not necessarily all the same rules and regulations that we run by.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a rural
we don't know exactly how
thing,
big
so
Curtisville is.
They might not even have the funding for a newspaper in the school.
True.
So, like to me, it just all of the points make more sense in a high school for me than a middle school.
Yeah, and it being in middle school doesn't really do anything for the plot.
No, in fact, like Mikey's kind of pointing out, it does kind of like if you get really into it, like it does kind of make you question the setting. But again, like who knows?
Mm.
So that's the end of my actual thoughts for chapter 3.
All right, Gamer.
I believe I have a couple left. Maybe I don't. What the hell? I was looking at the wrong chapter. Did I write down nothing for 3? I wrote down nothing for 3. So perhaps I have none.
All right. Then I suppose we move on to final thoughts.
I'll bring up one thing.
Okay.
I noticed that there was a cyber goth referenced.
Yes.
Is that like cybernetically enhanced, or is that like a goth but they're wearing like cyberpunk style clothes? I'm very curious.
Like because I've seen like those like cyber goth rave things where it's just like they're just dressed in like they've got like those like light up like dreads, like dread hats that you can wear, and they're like all like dressed out in like goth clothes, and they're just listening to this like techno music and underneath the bridge and like dancing to it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That was initially what I thought, but then I think it even says something. Hang on, where was it? Because it was about the cyber goth. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, about Seagull Day. For a while, things were great. I enjoyed my classes. There were field trips and prep rallies, school dances, and water balloon fights. There was even a Seagull Day. Seagull Day? A cyber gothic guy asked, a puzzled expression on his masked face.
Oh fuck! That doesn't necessarily mean prosthetic.
I
mask.
know it could be like he's just wearing the mask for like aesthetics, or it could be like an actual like he's got like it's like a respirator sort of like mask or something like that on because he's a cyborg goth.
That's
man.
awesome.
Again, I love like if this is I love the like, could it be like whimsical like realism or like magical realism where like again there's already like mention of like fair folk and like Gurdons and gorgons and vampires, oh my. So like, why not have like a kid who's a cyborg, like in this town or in this at this beach, as they're celebrating the midsummer festivities and such. Like they've already got like a bunch of humans and non-human beings like celebrating the festivities. So like,
yep.
Why not have like this? This could just be like a kid dressed up as like a techno goth kind of guy, or he's actually a cyborg who's just also a goth. And I love that.
I hate your face. That's how he has to talk.
Hey, hang on. Where is it? Is it Seek all day?
He's absolutely that guy from.
Oh God.
What was it? Was it Grandma's Boy?
Grandma's Boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus. But yeah, like it does say that. Yeah, like cyber gothic guy asked, a puzzled expression on his masked face.
Yes.
So
if that is not prosthetics,
yeah.
If that's not prosthetics, then that's pretty early on that he's like developed like a look and identity for himself, like that it's in middle school.
Yeah, I mean, like middle school. I'm sure, like there are kids again, like kids that do dress up like that and stuff like that in middle school. But yeah, high school is definitely where you get a lot more of the more pronounced cliques.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, again, this is present day, so this is actually isn't the kid from. This isn't in the story where like she was like.
Oh, you're right.
In middle school, yeah. But regardless, yeah, cybergoth.
Indeed. Very cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess if that's it for actual thoughts, we'll move on to final thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this one's not going to have an actual like recommendation, at least from my end, because we haven't finished the full story. We're only 3 chapters in of 14. So, but it is off to an interesting start. It is a little shaky with its pacing. But just between the three chapters, but a continuation of the story threads that we got from a previous iteration of the first chapter's like narrative is welcome. I am very curious to see how this is going to play out, and so I'm willing to continue reading it. I mean, I have no choice. Like we've got a schedule, but like
content for the
again,
content gods.
If I was reading this outside of like the story, I'd still continue reading past this chapter. So, yeah, that's all I've got for final thoughts. Mikey.
Well, like you stated, this is just the beginning of a story. So the first 3 chapters.
Yeah.
And I like the surrealism, but as stated, I really didn't like the school scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could have been easily fixed.
Middle school, when for us, it feels more like high school.
Yeah.
Or it makes more sense as high school.
Yeah.
So that broke the immersion for me. So
strangely enough, the mundane aspect what's pulling you out of it rather than the surreal magical realism aspect.
At this point, is it weird that the mundane affects Mikey this way? I don't think it's weird
suppose
anymore.
not. I suppose it shouldn't surprise me because this is a trend.
It's just funny. It's just funny how that's the case.
It's humorous.
Well, when you go in expecting like all the supernatural stuff and all the different fantasy races and stuff, you already go in there like with your mind open to all the possibilities. So all the fantastical stuff you can write off a lot easier. But all the realistic stuff that you know is right or wrong kind of is more of a glaring issue at that point, I think.
That's true. Yeah, like it's definitely like you suspended your disbelief for the fantastical stuff. So and the mundane stuff is supposed to be the stuff that grounds the fantastical stuff, and when that kind of falls short for you, it can throw that off even more, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm a partial recommendation.
All right. And Gamer.
That's me. For the time being, just because of like the pacing of all this, I'm kind of like leaning on a non-recommendation just because of how like slow it is to get information out of the story. Like, I'm 3 chapters in. It's the duration of like of some other full stories we've read, and like
it's
there's
taking
just
time.
yeah, there's a lot being said, but there's not a lot being said, if you know what I mean.
The writing, like, it's definitely like kind of there's a lot of like world building, but or like a lot of like just kind of extrapolating off of like side things and not like actually getting to a plot.
Mm-hmm. And especially since like I was super confused, being like, I thought I read this story, like reading the first chapter. I'm like, did I read this or am I just imagining things?
Yeah.
Is this real or is this fantasy?
Is this the real life?
Yeah, one of those things.
Curtisville.
Mm-hmm. But regardless, I am interested to see like how the creepypasta, the creepypasta within the creepypasta gets explained and all that stuff. So I'm curious to see how it goes. It's just kind of a rocky start for me personally, but I'm interested.
Fair. And I suppose we'll find out next week, or we'll continue to find out in next week and the week after and the week after that, as we continue to tackle 3 chapters at a time. The Visitor from Curtisville. So that'll do it for this week's episode. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted. Some of us are on Blue Sky. Mikey, for example, is at the East Ends for Evil, and I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com, where you can also send us suggestions for other creepypastas, SCPs, spooky things. You creep it, we'll peep it. Yeah! And if you'd like to help support our show financially, you can go to Patreon. We have special episodes, early access, and extra content. To all our patrons helping support the show, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. And as always, we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, thank you immensely, because without your listenership, it'd be like screaming into the void. And without your authorship, writing and posting these stories on the internet, we really wouldn't have much of a show because we'd have nothing to talk about. So thank you. Now's a good time to mention we are a part of a podcast network, Crit in the Night, an actual play and creepypasta podcast network. We're there alongside our sister podcast, One Less Die, and our cousin podcast, The Role Playing Exchange, for things that go crit in the night. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for Evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.